What I would really like is something where I can just put in like all the stuff that I need to do, stuff that I'm working on, and it cleverly sort of helps me rank it and helps me do the more valuable things first, and I can sort of quantify and track the value that I'm bringing to my life by doing this. So I'm thinking of building a tool like that. The brand name I've got is called Taskflow, and I've got some preliminary concept ideas for that.
Wow.
Let me just show you that. This is a mock-up tool here. There's competing theories about what you should work on, right? Like, should you work on just one thing that is the most important thing that's going to like change your life, or should you clean out the kitchen cupboard? You know, like that. We have lots of things to do.
How do you weigh those two?
Yeah, but I mean, if you only just work on the most important goal shifting thing, then your apartment turns to like a pile of rubbish, and you never do the cleaning, the washing up, and like life.
You just close the kitchen cupboard.
It's like so I want something that can help me manage very important tasks, very minor tasks, and in-betweens. And so what I have is this idea of a tool where you can when you add a task, you can kind of rank it a little bit. So you can sort of say, okay, this is very high value from a life goal point of view. This is kind of mundane. This is something that I need to be in a coding frame of mind to do, kind of thing. So you can add 100 tasks into here, and then you can use this left-hand nav to sort of browse your tasks by strategy. So you can kind of go just one thing. So it surfaces the ones that are really, have really major life impact. You can go structured procrastination. So that brings up something where it's going to bring up two tasks. Number one, the most painful, and number two, slightly less painful, because that's what structured procrastination is. You will do the second task on that list because you really don't want to do the first task. Number three, like frame of mind here. So this is going to bring up, so let's say, for example, at 10 a.m. every day, that's perfect coding time for me. So here I'm going to bring stuff up, and it's going to bring stuff that requires concentration, And so I pick those tasks, and then it's going to put them into the My Sites queue. So here I've got stuff that this is what I'm going to be working on today. And then right now is what I'm working on, and it's going to be super simplified. And what I do want is a text editor right there. I always want a text editor so that I can put notes in it. And then over time, I want to be able to go in and look at stats and say, this week, I accomplished this much on a life important task. I accomplished this much on this, and this is how much of an impact I'm having these different areas.
I'm kind of gobsmacked. I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff, right? Like you've got a fairly little kid and a full-time CTO job, and you're doing Nugget and Speak, and now you're doing like a side thing to become even more productive. So I'm kind of like...
No. Well, it's not quite like that because if we go back to the mental models here, okay, basically think small. So and the goals, the goals that I spoke about last time. So creating some revenue. Mm-hmm. So I'm weighing up like what's the best way. What is the best way to create some kind of I'd said 250K from a side project, but then I said, no, actually, really, I just 50 is fine. But what is the best way to create something that creates some kind of flywheel revenue? Well, obviously, there's issues with Nugget. That's got a problem because if you look at the Nugget revenue, so if we look at the all time, like basically. This is every time the course is released, and this is not recurring revenue. Where's the monthly recurring revenue shown?
That's on the billing tab.
Check this out. Monthly recurring revenue is $372.
How does that work?
because the reason is because that's leftover recurring revenue from when it used to be. It used to sell SaaS ideas, and people are paying like $20 to have access to the premium ideas of Nugget. But
the
now
nuggets.
the
Okay.
only thing that I actually sell now is the course and bringing in batches. And so this volume is from, like Black Friday type concepts. So every time someone, pays 2,000 or whatever to be in it, and maybe that's either they're paying it up front or they're dripping it out, but most of those are paid off at this stage. So this is not a great way to create flywheel revenue.
And you need them to all go through at the same time, right? Like you couldn't really do an evergreen email sequence.
I think that's something that needs to be discussed, and that's sort of what we're thinking about in these sessions. I think that is possible, but I'm not sure that it's the right way to sell courses, because I think the way that courses sell really well is through time-limited events, collecting people up in a list, having them in a waiting list, and saying that you're opening the doors. I think that is, to sell high-priced courses, that is probably the best way.
You get Twitter buzz. Yeah, I think maybe.
But the point is that Nugget is not great for my flywheel revenue, for my personal goals, right? Speak is a great product, but it's not. It's beginning to be a product that needs more research, but it's not great for my flywheel revenue goals. So what I've been thinking about is there anything that's more like a no-brainer, low price point type of product that I can bring value to the world, that's in a very big market, that could actually somehow tie everything together and be useful and basically be that flywheel product. So what I'm thinking about for this, what I'm thinking about for this is, it's a Nugget test case, because basically I'm just following Nugget by building this. Like the reason why I pick this is because of the way that Nugget tells you to pick ideas. I've sort of gone through that process. Yeah, gone through that process, and this is the idea that it comes up with. So it helps. It's sort of a Nugget test case. But then also, I can use Speak in this product to demo it, so people can see Speak in action, actually onboarding people onto a product. And then that's a validated, at least for me, seeing how Speak works and helps people use it. So then, and that also, by the way, coincidentally, makes it easier for me to onboard people to this product, because Speak is really good to onboard people to a product.
Yeah,
so
it's synergy. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. And then also, I do have this genuine problem of just this big ass text file, and I find it a very suboptimal way to work. And I want to be able to just go in and just have a much better way of working in the moment, just me working in the moment. So this is not to compete with Trello. This is not to compete with Jira. This is not a time tracking tool. It's basically to compete with the big ass text file. That's literally what this is to compete with.
That one, yeah, that's interesting. It's such a broad B2C market. It's interesting to see how you go about this.
Here's the thing. The market's ginormous. The revenue that I need, for a flywheel is not a lot. I mean, I'm not looking to become a billionaire through this or something like that. I mean, if this makes $5,000 a month, that's perfectly fine. And I don't need, even at $5 a month price points, I don't need a ridiculous amount of customers. I mean, okay, I guess I need 1,000 customers to make $5,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
At $5, and I don't need it to scale up to that level really quickly, because it's synergistic. It helps me as a test case for Nugget, and it helps me with Speak.
So is this going to be a web app or a mobile app or
web app? Yeah. If I do it, I'm still thinking it through. That's part of the reason why I'm presenting it to you right now.
It's interesting
to sort of see.
To me, it looks really hard to sell, but it's also super hard to predict, because like Workflowy was, just kind of like stagnant forever and then blew up.
Well, it's going to be very much about consumer content. Like I'm strong at content marketing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very content marketing consumer oriented, which I was very strong with Plugio. So it's going to be kind of similar to that. And, the market is billions of people kind of thing. So I don't need I just need to find just the right few, just scrape off a few. I mean, even the market's so huge. The idea of me getting 100 people paying for this is not.
It seems
is not ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems like this one you'll need like or not need, but it'd be ideal if you could get some sort of cult thing going, like like CrossFit enthusiasts or like carnivore diet people, or just like some sort of like group of people where they have like some overarching belief system that this fits into. It's like, this is how I'm gonna like organize because I'm this kind of, I'm a task flower. Well,
yes, I think you're exactly right. I think it needs to be content driven. I think that it needs to have things like guest blog posts from see, each one of these is a strategy. And I think that, so one of the things I was thinking of doing is, let me try and find a good way of sharing this. One sec. So I had this idea of when you add a task, to make it super easy, and this is a terrible version of the UI, but I know I could make a really subtle version of the UI where it didn't seem overwhelming, and just sort of as you moved your mouse around, it'd be really quick. So you add a task, so you just add your, this is my task, and then you just, go pop, pop, click a few different things, like this has a massive life impact. This has, a small pain level or high pain level. So you can just choose 3 of these things, maybe pop, 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 and then click go, and then it adds it to the stack. And so as you select these things, and this might be a scrolling list, this might be a list that you can add custom things to. As you select these things, they come up to the top, and maybe even you sort of have another little bunch of radios here that's like, regular coding task, and it automatically selects these. So it makes it super fast for you to add these things. So what that will enable you to do is, like, after a week, you'll be able to, I'm envisioning a chart with concentric circles, okay, where you can look at this chart, and it will basically say, the last week, life impact, the last week, pain. So so you can sort of just quantify, you can self-quantify what you've done during the last week and the last month.
It's like pain that the task gets rid of, or that it causes.
Well, it's you can set it, you can set that up. So
Okay.
It's different quantification metrics. So that's one side of it. And then for the power players, I'm thinking that these strategies, you could even just go ahead and write your own algorithm, how to pull them out there, So these are sort of suggested strategies. This is a just one thing strategy where it's gonna order things by, life impact, health impact. But maybe you're an eco warrior, right? And you want to organize things by how much impact it's having to the environment, how much impact it's having to the local environment. And so that when you're just working on your tasks, you can help yourself sort of sort through things in that way. So it's not really it's not a one size fits all type of thing. It's like an all sizes fits all type of thing.
Yeah,
that makes
sense.
sense.
It's like a more sophisticated prioritization setup that a computer helps you with.
It's exactly, but prioritization and analytics, self quantification.
Yeah, I'll have to see more.
Yeah. Okay. It's just the beginning genesis of it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Cool. Well, I definitely like the synergy between all those things.
Yeah.
It reminds me what one of your old podcast guests, James Altucher, said. It's like if you do 2 or 3 things, it's horrible. You should either like really focus on one thing or do 12 things that all help each other.
That's right. Yeah.